Nice to do this June weekend retreat. Did we have a weekend retreat in May?
Yes.
Rani says that we did. I have no recollection of that. May was quite busy for me because I was teaching so many revitalized sessions and then one retreat as well. So May is a bit blurry. Was busy. But this June retreat is, all these weekend retreats are nice little snacks in between the bigger retreats. And we will have a bigger retreat next month in July, annual summer retreat. Some of you are coming over here to Slovenia. Maybe some of you are joining online through Zoom. It's a good opportunity, whether you are joining in person or online. It's always excellent opportunity to practice more than 4 days, because it really, through the effect of transmissions and through the support that we give each other, the group gives each other, it's a very precious opportunity. So make use of these longer retreats when we have them. I wanted to begin this evening and this weekend by a little announcement. Announcement about empowerments. I haven't given empowerments in a year and a half, except the Guru Yoga empowerment for Rainbow Body Yoga Light. Guru Yoga empowerment of Guru Padmasambhava and Lady Eshe Tsogyal. And I think most of you know that I used to give the standard empowerment of Rainbow Body Yoga containing 12 different deities, very openly, just on the condition that one needs to be honest and sincere. But then I stopped doing it a year and a half ago, because for many years there were problems, not with the empowerment, but with the students. So many students. People didn't really understand what they had been given, even after many years of practice, and also picked and chose from what I was teaching and asking our sangha members to do. So I haven't given Rainbow Body Yoga standard empowerment or other deity empowerments for a year and a half. And I started noticing when I gave the last deity empowerments on winter retreat 23-24, at the end of December, early January 23-24, I started noticing something like 7-8 months after that the sangha members, whether they were joining the retreats or weren't, the progress of the sangha started to slow down, because I wasn't giving empowerments. And the reason for that is that, if we think of if you can imagine this, that sangha is a community, men, women, located in Europe, US, wherever you or they might be located. That group is energetically connected. Energetically connected mainly to me, because I'm the one who is giving the teachings and empowerments. And so always when a teacher or a guru gives empowerments, it affects mainly those who are receiving the particular empowerment, but also because of the existing energetic connection, it affects the whole sangha. It boosts the whole sangha. So I wasn't giving those empowerments, and I noticed that because of that boost is missing, people's progress is becoming slower. Well, what is slow, what is fast, that is relative. But let's say that the progress of the sangha members got slower in comparison to what it was before. And I think that it was better in one sense, because maybe I could use an analogy that you have more time when a bumi opens. Let's say, using bumi openings as an example, when you have a bumi opening awakening experience yesterday, for example, and then when you have the next one in, let's say, 2 months time instead of 2 weeks time, during those 2 months you have more time to take a look, like if we think in terms of analogy of traveling. During those 2 months, as you are still making the journey, you have more time to look around the view, see how it feels, kind of get used to it more. So there is also definitely positive sides to that it takes more time, takes more chewing, takes more time for integration. But at the same time, I kind of felt that the energy was becoming a bit stale. Just a bit. But to me, even a little bit, staleness, is that a word? Staleness. I'm not happy that it's there. You know, you have heard me teach so many times that keep energy in motion. Keep energy in motion. So yeah, I've observed that this condition that was new to the sangha, new to me, myself observing it, and I've observed it now for almost a year that it's been like that. Having said that, I think that for many years I was really trying to make our sangha members, my students, understand that there is much more to Dharma than just bumi openings and meditative bodhicitta. There's much more to Dharma, which I have been talking about for years, but that was exactly the point that I felt very strongly that our sangha members weren't hearing me say. I kind of felt that very point was being purposefully bypassed. So people were just focusing on their own progress, and then kind of disregarding the situation of the mission, which has been quite problematic, especially after COVID. I spoke about this on the Swiss retreat a little bit, that, well, you know that up until COVID we used to have monthly live retreats, mostly in UK and Ireland, some of them in Finland, occasionally in other places, but COVID really wrecked that system. And after COVID passed in 2022, I tried to resuscitate those live activities, but I felt like people were not responding. And one of the bad sides of internet, and Facebook included, is that it passivates people. And also you just don't get the same experience of a retreat like this, or live retreat. You just don't get the same experience online. This goes without saying. It's the same for every human activities. I often compare it to that you can't have a romance online. This is not exactly romance between myself and students, or students among each other, but it's similar, you know. So I tried my best to express, sometimes with lots of frustration, this, that, you know, sangha members need to be active, but I felt that I wasn't heard, and that was one of the main reasons why I stopped giving those empowerments, because I really got fed up with it, to be honest. But now it's been a year and a half since I stopped giving empowerments. You know, I used to give empowerments a lot before. So not only the standard Rainbow Body Yoga empowerment with 12 deities, but I was also giving Amrita deity empowerment, the deities of Amrita Kriya Yoga. I was giving those, and I was giving many other empowerments. Just to name a few other empowerments, 13 Pure Land meditations, which is like we have 13 Buddhas, 13 deities for each of the 13 bhumis, and this practice of 13 Pure Land meditations is used as a tool to check one's progress in bhumis. Okay? So I haven't given that in a while, and also I haven't given reading transmissions. A reading transmission means that I don't have any text here with me now, but you know, or maybe I actually do. Reading transmissions are given for particular texts. This is one text that I give reading empowerments, the Song of the Vajra, which is an ancient text. It's a very short, as you can see. And it's simply, this text in particular, it expresses the view of the Great Perfection. It explains how and what the basic nature is. Other reading empowerments that I've given in the past is Longchenpa's Chöying Je text, the precious treasury of the basic space of phenomena, Chöying Je, which is very, very important Dzogchen text. But I haven't given that one either in a while. But my point is that I used to give these empowerments on regular basis, you know, at least once a month or something like this. So I've contemplated the matter, and from my personal perspective, I haven't felt at home at all not giving empowerments. That hasn't felt right for me. You know, those of you who know me from a longer time, well, I think that it is really, how to say, it's the nature of bodhicitta to give, to share the Dharma, to share whatever you can share, however you can help. And because of that, it has felt very awkward for me not to give, not to share. But I just had to do that decision, because you cannot give and share if you are not getting, if it is not properly received. So now that I start giving empowerments again, I have made requirements so that my gifts will not be taken too lightly, that they will be taken with proper seriousness, and that they won't be taken for granted. So let's go through the list of requirements that I've set. Some of these requirements have been on the website already, so some of you might be familiar with. The website, by the way, is going through a pretty, pretty total update. So there's lots of information there that is outdated, but this is one of the things that need to be updated there. So requirements for receiving empowerments: 2 years of practice, 2 years of regular practice. This means that when you start practicing regularly Rainbow Body Yoga or Amrita Kriya Yoga or both, when you start regular Amrita Mandala practice, that's the day when 2 years from that date, when your practice is regular, that is required. That is requirement number 1. Also, one has to be an active member of the sangha. Active member of the sangha. What does that mean? Traditionally, students have a important position or role in Dharma activities. This is kind of, many of my Dharma teacher friends have been quite, Western teachers have been quite upset about the fact that it seems like when traditionally in Asian traditional Dharma, it is the sanghas, who take responsibility of putting together teaching events, retreats, who organize Dharma events. In the West, I have also felt like this many times over the years, that in the West it kind of seems like people go to teachers like myself or join retreats kind of like customers, like paying customers. And that's something, even if you pay for a retreat, it is not like a service like getting a foot massage from a masseur. It is not like that. And to think in that way that you're paying for a service or that you're a customer, this is not right at all. It doesn't, even saying it, for me at least, it feels so off. So traditionally you can check this up from really any manuals or classics that discuss the role of the students and the sangha, and they will explain that students have a very important role in running of the mission, and that role is doing karma yoga. Karma yoga is a Sanskrit term which means yoga of service, yoga of action. And for students, it means that it is the students responsible. The sangha is responsible for running the mission, which means that organizing events, inviting teachers over, and whatever kind of promotion is needed for teachings, letting locals know that this and this teaching event is taking place. This is the responsibility. This is the karma yoga that belongs to the sangha. So my second point is that one is required to be an active member of the sangha through karma yoga for the mission and or yogis on display. So yogis on display is something that I invented a few years ago, and this is actually nice. I will explain this. So when we go to Asia, you can pick any country, Hindu country, Buddhist country. When you go over there, what you can see, if you just take a walk in a city or a village, wherever, sooner or later you will stumble upon some monks or nuns, some yogis, yoginis, perhaps some ascetics who have clothes and features of ascetics. You can see Buddhists, Hindus. You can see different types of Buddhists, using different types of clothes. So my point is that when you go to a traditional countries of yoga and Dharma practice, you can see practitioners there. The only thing really that in the West, in Christian and post-Christian cultures, are priests and sometimes monks or nuns, Christian monks or nuns, but they don't seem to be that many. Like I haven't traveled that extensively in Europe, and sometimes, when traveling in Europe, you see some monk or a Catholic nun here and there. Sometimes perhaps a priest that has the priest's the thing on here at the collar. But Western culture is not like a dharmic culture in the sense that in Asia. One thing that we did when back in the day when I was in the monastery in Japan, we had the so-called 5 and 9 days. 5th and 9th of the month, 15th and 19th of the month, 25th and 29th of the month. And we would do this. It's sometimes translated as, what's that? Alm rounds. Does that make sense, that English term? Begging rounds. So we would put our monk's clothes on, the whole sangha, and then we would walk out in a straight line out of monastery's gates, and then we might be circling the how to say, the area just next to the monastery, or sometimes we hopped into a bus, drove for 15 minutes to a different area of the city, and then we would hop off and then circulate then on the streets of the city. And we would chant in Japanese, "Ho," as we were walking. So monk's clothes, chanting Ho, which means Dharma in Japanese, and then people would stop and stand in front of us. We would bow to them. We would extend our hands with this pouch that we were carrying. They would usually donate money, and then we would slip it inside the pouch, and then we would chant a little sutra for them, like a blessing, transmit a blessing. And this was done every 4 or 5 days, so like 5-6 times a month. Of course, it is like a way to gain merit for the community, donating money or sometimes donating food for those who practice the Dharma full time. They gain merit from doing that, which is very helpful and very necessary for everybody. But something that is also important is the visibility of Dharma practitioners, even, and I would say especially, in modern societies. It is very important to be visible. Okay, so I came back from Japan exactly 20 years, actually, wow, it's in a week from now, exactly 20 years ago, in June 2005. And then over the following years, I was still, for the first year when I came back, I was a practicing Zen Buddhist. And of course, Zen Buddhism has spread in Europe, in US, very widely. So there are Zen Buddhist monasteries, temples, local groups, in hundreds, maybe in thousands, in Europe and US and South America. So it's quite a popular thing. But then I started noticing something, which is that people were keeping their practice secret, or there was no visibility of there was no like that kind of exchange or sharing or letting people know that something like internal practice, meditation, practice of awakening was taking place in their cities. And I did some study of this for a number of years, and I heard about one place in the States, in United States, where there was something like 2 or 3 or 4 monks living who were doing it on a weekly basis. But in any other temples, monasteries, Buddhist groups, nobody was doing that. Nobody was nobody was reaching out to the locals. And this is a big problem. It's a very big problem. I think that it's such a big problem that I think that it might be decisive whether Dharma survives in the West or not. Because the same has happened in the history of Buddhism in Asia, as well as with Christianity in the West. I don't think it is necessary to start building these massive cathedrals of marble or massive golden temples like there are everywhere in Asia. But it is necessary to let the locals, let the people know that such a thing exists. This was done the first thing when Buddha Dharma spread in ancient times, when it spread from one country to the next. It was often the case that some very wealthy merchants or rulers like emperors and kings began to finance and support Buddha Dharma. And of course that happens these days as well. But even if it didn't happen, even if we don't have a big money to do things, I think it is essential also from the perspective of bodhicitta to let people around you know that there is something called practice. And that's why I came up with the idea of yogis on display, which means that you just go to nature or go to a park bench in a city, go to a marketplace, take a seat at the bench, and you just sit quietly, meditate. Maybe chant mantras to yourself. Not like making a scene, nothing dramatic, but just sitting there peacefully. And we already know, yogis on display, I explained it a few years ago, and we already know that sometimes some people notice that, oh, that person is meditating, and sometimes they come and want to talk with you and maybe share something. And that is the whole point. The whole point is just to sit there and show for those who are seeking the Dharma, to show that there is different energy that you can be in. That it's not only this samsaric, messy energy, that actually some people can be in a very different energy. And there are so many people who are seeking for that. I was seeking it for over 20 years. Right? How long did you seek before you found out something like meditation and awakening? So yogis on display is a very simple, down-to-earth, bodhisattvic thing to do. If you wanna print some simple flyers, so if somebody comes to you and asks, hello, are you meditating? And you have a simple, nice exchange, maybe you can give a flyer. But yogis on display is not like Jehovah's Witnesses are doing. It's not like tell us your address, tell us your phone number, give us your email address, and we'll start pestering you. It's not like that. Never give your address for Jehovah's Witnesses. They will keep going after you for decades if you do that. But this is what yogis on display is. Something that I have set as a rule for yogis on display is to, when you are sitting, take a picture of yourself, or perhaps take a picture of the where you are and post it on social media, wherever, Facebook, Instagram, I don't know what other social medias exist nowadays. But I have set that condition because that is also, and tagging it, hashtag yogis on display, because then there must be hundreds of yogis on display pictures by now. So that is also a way to spread the Dharma, a very simple way through social media. And I want to remind it that, we have this retreat fees, that if you choose a lower fee, then you can pay part of the fee through yogis on display. But I want to emphasize that the way that I have set it up, it also includes social media posts. And again, you can take a picture of yourself or the place you're sitting. You can sit in marketplace, in cities, among people, or you can sit in nature. Animals. We all were animals at some point. At least I know I was. Maybe you remember that you have been an animal. Animals also need Dharma, and they can relate to that energy that Dharma expresses. It's divine energy, pure energy. So, being an active member of the sangha, doing karma yoga and or yogis on display at least 50 hours per year. That is 1 hour per week. Okay? 1 hour per week. So 2 years of practice and being an active member of the sangha through karma yoga and or yogis on display, 50 hours per year, 1 hour a week. A third requirement for receiving empowerment is having received refuge in person. So refuge, the information about refuge also needs to be updated on the website. But refuge is something very important in Buddha Dharma. It's kind of like in Christianity you take baptism. And you are not member of the church is not the right way to, it's not, you cannot compare it with refuge, but taking a baptism also means that you take refuge in Jesus Christ and God. So it is very important, and it actually, even in this very kind of secular Christian setting, there is a charge there. There is a connection with Ishanat, with Jesus Christ, that takes place, which is extremely precious in the samsaric world. In Buddhism, we speak of something called refuge. Usually refuge is threefold, taking refuge in Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. In Amrita Mandala, because it's a tantric method and community, we have fivefold refuge. Taking refuge in Guru, Pure Land, Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. And there is more to say about refuge. I'm actually writing a book about kind of related to this matter at the moment. But refuge is very important, and to receive it formally is very important. To receive it formally means that you ask a refuge from your teacher. And then the teacher, if the requirements are met, then offers you refuge. So this means that taking refuge is general in the sense that you take refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha, and then on the tantric side of Amrita Mandala it's Guru Rinpoche and Guru Rinpoche's Pure Land. So it's general in that sense, but it is also particular because it is your teacher who is giving it. So it is particular to the tradition, to the lineage also. And it's kind of first step to becoming a steady Sangha member and establishing a personal connection with the teacher, with the Guru, which is the most important point in Tantric Yoga, in Vajrayana. Having a one-on-one experience and one-on-one connection with one's teacher. So, receiving refuge in person, not online, but in person, it's also a requirement for receiving empowerments. And refuge in turn can be received after 2 years of practice. In most in most Vajrayana tantric communities, if you join the first retreat with a teacher and you ask for a refuge, they will give it. There will be a small ceremony. You will perhaps get a Tibetan Dharma name, and the teacher will chop a little bit of your hair, and you will be offered refuge that way. I do not give refuge that way because it is very superficial. If you're literally joining first or maybe 6th or 10th retreat, you don't really know what refuge means. So the reason why I give refuge after 2 years of regular practice, including at least joining 4 retreats in person, is because I want my students to understand what the refuge is. Just like I want you to understand what empowerments are. So I'm different in the sense from most Vajrayana teachers that I require this 2-year practice and 2-year commitment before even giving refuge. So yeah, 2 years of practice, including at least 4 in-person retreats. Yeah, maybe that was all I wanted to say about that. And then it is necessary to say that exceptions apply, exceptions exist. People who are very ill or financially crippled can also receive refuge and start receiving empowerment from me. But one really needs to be very ill, or there needs to be just like financially crippled in the sense that it's not like I don't have money this month, so next month it will be better. Not like that. I'm talking about if you went properly bankrupt last year or a couple of years ago and your finances are a wreck for the next 5 to 10 years. I'm talking about that kind of financial situation, devastating situation. There has been to be honest, there has been many examples over the years when people have kind of taken advantage of what I offer on this basis. And it has felt awful every time. So those are the main requirements for receiving empowerments. And then when one meets these requirements and you get a permission to join the empowerments that I give, you can join any empowerments that I offer. And also, the way how it traditionally works is that it's the students who ask for empowerments. It's always the students who should be asking for certain teachings, perhaps making certain questions that lead to the teacher giving certain teachings and or empowerments. But whether it is something that I offer or my students ask me, when you get a permission to join and receive empowerments, it applies to all of them. And then, having said that, in Rainbow Body Yoga we have three different levels of empowerments. So you have the Rainbow Body Yoga Light with just Guru Yoga empowerment for Guru Padmasambhava and Yeshe Tsogyal. And then we have after 2 years, the standard empowerment with 12 deities. Okay? There is a third one, which is the advanced empowerment with how many? Maybe like 20 more deities, mostly wrathful deities. You can find the list of these deities from our website. But this advanced empowerment I give only to my ordained students. So this is like only to ordained students. Ordained means that you have a robe and you use a robe. You become my, it's called heart students in Tantra. In English you would say disciple, like a heart student. It's possible to ordain, let's say, after 5 years of practice. 5 years of doing the things that we already discussed, being an active member of the sangha, and so on. Then one can become ordained. Maybe something like a brief notice about that in all Dharma traditions there is something called Dharma transmission, which means that a student through many years of practice, through commitment and engagement to the teacher, to the mission, to the sangha, comes to a point when he or she can be authorized as a full teacher of that tradition. So to become a teacher in Amrita Mandala means that one needs to be ordained. But I will perhaps speak about this ordination thing in some other time. But those who want to become my personal students, heart students, after 5 years, and assuming that there is this one personal connection that you really appreciate and cherish. Not only that the student cherishes the connection, but also that I, as a teacher, cherish that connection, respect it. That needs to be there. So I would never ordain, and many Dharma teachers would never ordain students who they don't really know. Well, now that I said it, I immediately remembered that it actually does happen. But again, in other connections, that sometimes actually Dharma teachers, they can offer ordination basically when first meeting the person. But what's the worth of that? Close to zero, I think. Not much weight. Not to even mention, not much love not much care there. Okay, so the empowerments that I'm talking about, like I already mentioned, standard rainbow body yoga empowerment, which is a big, even though we speak of standard, that it's something basic. And, I used to give it openly many times in previous years. It is actually very like a heavyweight practice. If you take a look at the list of those deities, there are aspects of Guru Rinpoche and Yeshe Tsogyal. These deities in Rainbow Body Yoga are always in pairs. So there is a masculine form and feminine form. So aspect of Guru Rinpoche or Yeshe Tsogyal. So there are deities for masculine and feminine for the 13th Bhumi, for 12th Bhumi, 11th Bhumi, namely Kunzang Gyalpo, Dechen Gyalmo, Vajradhara, Saraswati, Vajrasattva, and Pragyaparamita. Then there are Avalokiteshvara and White Tara. And then there are 4 wrathful deities, which are Dorje Jolo and Vajrayogini and Dorje Gotrap and Rani, what's the one? Just a few days ago I told you to learn the list of the deities, but I'm sorry, I don't remember. What's Dorje Gotrap's? Is it Dorje Pagmo? No. Oh, Dorje Pagmo. Michael, I remembered it. But that's the list. And if you Google those deities, you can find out that these are deities given in Tibetan Vajrayana. But number of those deities are not openly given. So what I did by giving that list of deities openly was something unusual. And I would love to give it openly still, but I learned that I have to require things from students before giving them. And then, of course, empowerments of Amrita deities, empowerments for Amrita Kriya practice and for the path of healing and light. I have received 20, 25, 30 deities, Amrita deities from my masters, mainly Agastya and Babaji, some others. And these are the deities for purifying the astral body. I have given many of them in private setting when my students have come to meet me personally, and some of those deities I've given on retreats such as this. Amrita Sundari is one of those that I've given openly. But yeah, there's 20, 25, 30 roughly deities that I'll be happy to give to students who meet these requirements. And these empowerments can be received both in person or online. For a while, I kind of had the opinion that I will not give empowerments online anymore, except perhaps Guru Yoga empowerment like I've done the past year and a half. But then I started feeling that, our sangha, especially at the moment, is totally spread all over the globe. So in the States, some in South America, in Europe, in few in Australia, Japan, all over the place. So it simply wouldn't be practical, or it wouldn't serve the Sangha members well if I only stuck to giving empowerments in person. And that's why, if and when you get the permission to join the empowerments, they can be received in person or online. But again, not by students who have not joined live retreats at all. I am not comfortable with that anymore, giving empowerments to people who I have never met. So, and again, it applies that if somebody is very ill, cannot travel, then it's a different matter. And then I would also like to remind of a retreat help fund. Retreat help fund, which is something that we started a few years ago, which is a fund that our sangha members or other people can donate money into. And this money can be, how do you say, you can apply for retreat help fund if you don't have enough money to join live retreats. So Helena is the one, Acharya Helena is the one who is in charge of Retreat Help Fund, and that is there to assist people who are broke. And also, if it is possible for you to donate to Retreat Help Fund, contact Helena. We are now collecting, like topping up the Retreat Help Fund account, and everybody's help is welcome. If you can donate 300 euros, 500 euros, 1000 euros, that would be great. If you can only donate 20, 50 euros, that is also helpful. Okay. I think that was kind of all things covered regarding this announcement about empowerments. I'm really looking forward to start giving empowerments again. If you haven't been in the Sangha 2 years yet, just do your time. Like they say in prison, just do your time, and then 2 years will be up. And then you can apply to join empowerments. Any questions about this that you might have thought of? All right. Regarding this retreat, we will have Rainbow Body Yoga on tomorrow morning, Saturday and Sunday, led by Rani, Amrita Rani. So she will guide Rainbow Body Yoga at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow morning and on Sunday morning. That everybody is welcome to join. 8:30 local time.